China's investment bankers are facing intense scrutiny. Multiple arrests, seizure of passports and important documents, and over 8,700 investment bankers are facing the heat from the government.
Very senior heads of China's business are rolling, but none of us gets details of why those heads are rolling, what crimes they committed.
The Chinese investment banking sector has started to feel the government's pressure, as officials have detained at least 3 top executives in the last 6 weeks. The tensions have risen after the arrest of Haitong Securities senior executive who was repatriated to China. According to Bloomberg, Haitong and other state-backed brokerages have imposed travel restrictions on its staff, requiring them to hand over passports and seek approval for both business and personal travel. Not only that, Haitong Securities and other firms have mandated that employees obtain permission before resigning. But this executive is not the first. The sudden vanishing of billionaire Bao Fan had already started to raise eyebrows on Chinese government's broader crackdown, which was part of President Xi's Common Prosperity Drive. Here's what senior journalist and chairman of Center for Himalayan Asian Studies and Engagement Vijay Kranti had to say.
The share prices and market value of Bao Fan has dropped drastically. Just imagine from $800 million, today he is not even up to $50 million. So that shows that how the regime in China can decide the fate of its own businessmen, industrialists, or finance managers. What has happened with him, not much is known. Only that he was detained last year in February, and he disappeared from the public scene. And it's very unfortunate that his own company, when they were contacted by the media, they could not go beyond telling that, oh, we have lost contact with him. The Communist Party has failed in controlling corruption. What it always claims word over, when the communists are running around, they talk of a society where there will be no corruption, there will be equality. And what we see that in the most strong communist government of the world, we see that even 50 years after, the head of state is finding that corruption is the main issue. So what I see today, number one, corruption has not vanished from China. Number two, corruption has come to stay as an accepted norm to the extent that Xi Jinping can start a cleansing campaign of his party, Communist Party of China, of his military, of his civil services, and the common society and the business, of arresting, catching, hold of, neutralizing, and even eliminating many of those people whom he doesn't like or whom he thinks are threat to the Chinese Communist Party and his position in the Communist Party.
But why is it happening? Well, the Chinese government is taking measures in its effort to tighten its control over financial institutions.
What his focus was, he announced that he was going to fight corruption in China, which he said was the main problem of the nation. And at that time, he announced his crackdown on what he called tigers and flies. So you mentioned the number of business executives or business heads. What Xi Jinping is doing, that these business executives and business heads are only one part of his cleansing campaign. What he is terming it as fight against communism. So when he announced that he is going to crack down on tigers and flies, he very clearly made it clear that he was not going to only attack or identify and root out high-level officials in the government, in the military, and in the Communist Party. He also made it clear that he was going to catch the flies also, which means he would go at the local civil servants level. And this is exactly what he has been doing.
Chinese authorities have been trying to clean up the country's $66 trillion financial sector since at least 2021, when President Xi set his sights on corruption in the industry. Wide-ranging probes have led to the detentions and arrests of numerous financial professionals at Chinese banks, brokerages, asset managers, and insurance companies. The most severe punishments for financial crimes have included death sentences or life imprisonment for former top executives of some institutions. These detentions of investment bankers or regulatory probes are also raising questions about the future of China's 17 trillion brokerage industry and domestic capital markets activity, which have already slowed sharply while the broader economy sputters. China's state-owned financial institutions have capped annual pay for senior staffers at 2.9 million yuan or $400,000, while recent pay cuts for onshore bankers at China International Capital Corp have been as much as 25% of their base salaries.
The charges are that so and so person has been doing corrupt practices which are against China's character and China's interest, and that's how the people are arrested and they vanish.
China had more than 8,700 investment bankers as of early September across 147 brokerages, according to Bloomberg. Many of them are involved in capital market activities, including IPOs and follow-up on share sales. The combined revenue of securities firms in the country amounted to 203.3 billion yuan in the first half, official data showed, and down 9% from a year earlier.
The Chinese people don't have money. Over the last 70 years, since the last at least 40 years, the ordinary Chinese people, their financial economic status has gone up, and those people who were successful in making money, they are stinking with money. They are rich people, they have tons of money. But when you see that the same people who made money from the same system, today they are shying away even by investing in IPOs. People wait for IPOs. The investors all over in the world, the small or big investor wait for IPO. And when in China the IPOs are performing so bad, it simply shows that the system has lost the faith and respect of the common investor, the common Chinese investor. And that's why I see that these IPOs are failing. And if this kind of treatment goes on going to other business tycoons, the promoters, or talented advisors who have made money and who help other companies to make money, if the same treatment is going to happen to these people, I don't think that there is a good big scope for IPOs in China. And one thing which you see, only the latest news is that China has an anti-corruption system.